You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Good evening, outdoors. This is Rodney Rogers. You listen to Rodney Rogers Outdoors, live in living color. Well, I can't say that. There's already been a living color. This is my partner, Coach Ease in Crime, Michael the Man Coy.
Yes.
How are you, brother?
Hey, if it's 0 degrees outside,
Zero.
and tomorrow it's going to be twice as cold. How cold will it be?
If it's 0 degrees and it's twice as cold, double lot cold is what I'm thinking. That's pretty cool. What's the answer?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But actually, there actually would be a way to figure that out, right?
Yes, I guess.
You can
if
convert
it's
it
0
to,
Fahrenheit.
convert it to
or
the other.
Celsius.
You can figure it out.
Yeah, we could do that.
Think outside the box.
Somebody listening.
And in an airplane,
Yes.
the seat rests come down.
Right.
Who gets the seat rests? Who gets the armrests?
I always say it's first come, first serve. And then you look at the person to your left or right. Let's say you take both of them and you like let out this belch. You look at them with the evil look. I think you're okay.
The smelliest person gets it.
Smelliest person. You got to look mean, though. You got to, it's a whole flight thing. Just
There is an answer for this, though.
I always go to the right. Does that make sense? Because I always figure out there's one by the window. So no one has access to that one but the guy on the right.
Okay, what about the one on the far left?
So the one on the far left, he has the far left aisle, and the guy in the middle has two, one on each side.
So you're saying the guy in the middle gets both armrests?
That's my theory.
That's the right answer.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Do you know that, Krista?
No, I did not. Yeah.
Got a special guest tonight.
Da-doom-doom.
Yes, the person in the middle gets, I guess, because they're got the inconvenience
Of having
to get stuck in the middle.
Also, that is the right answer?
That's the right answer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang. I didn't. It's just the way I do it.
Yeah.
I just thought I was greedy, and I don't mind.
Yeah, last time I flew, I had that question, and it posed some investigation when I got down.
Real.
And come to find out that is the appropriate etiquette answer. The person in the middle gets both armrests.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. The guy on the right's got his, and the one on the left's got theirs.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, the headphone set is on the left of the person sitting in the far left.
Sure. Okay.
And then,
Yeah, I was frustrated. I was on the window seat, and I was frustrated with the guy in the middle. I think because he was just putting off an attitude, and it just made me mad.
oh, yeah.
It's like, so why do you get the armrest?
Yeah.
I'm like, he was there first, so I
Calm.
kind of just, it was just one of those things. And here's another one.
Uh-oh.
What about the movie theaters?
That's a good question.
Because now it's a whole different story.
Yeah, I think that is the first come, first serve. It's wherever you put your drink,
You claim your steak.
you kind of claim your stake in that territory there. Yeah. And then if you have your spouse or significant other on your right, then you take them both. And if she eyeballs you, then you gently move your stuff away.
Now, granted, it's rare that it's that packed that you got, right? A stranger sitting right next to you.
Especially with me. I always go to that late, early.
Yeah.
I don't even go. What am I talking about?
Anyways, that's my totally unrelated outdoor questions and ponderings I have.
It is outdoors.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How
Good.
about yourself? How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky. Got a little fall weather in my.
Was the
Yeah.
leaves changing yet?
They were starting to change. Yeah.
Okay.
Starting to change. Unfortunately, we drove through the Chattanooga area. It was
Right.
dark both times.
Oh,
which
man.
it's good and it's bad because we went in the middle of the night, so there's no traffic,
Right.
which is a plus. You
Yeah,
don't get
yeah.
to see the beautiful surroundings.
Oh, and I love Chattanooga.
It's gorgeous.
I got nephews in Chattanooga, man. They're awesome. Ugly as hell.
So what'd
but
you
they
do?
are.
You've been a busy man.
I have been trying to get busy. Did you notice anything different about me?
I do. You look studious. Is that the word?
Yes,
Studio.
that is.
You getting
That is
old?
the word. I am. I thought I went to the eye doctor and I said I probably ought to.
So
see.
this is a new prescription. It's just
This
not
is-
like you haven't been wearing them.
Right. I mean, my sunglasses are prescription, and I've had and I only wore them when I needed sunglasses. Well, when I fished or hunted or something like that. Well, we go gator hunting about 3 weeks ago, and my cousin goes, "Hey, man, look at them ducks. Those are teals." And I came up with the classic answer: "What ducks?"
Good. Good one. Yes.
He said, right there.
Really?
And then I couldn't see the ducks. So they were a little far away. So I figured if I'm going to hunt this duck season, it would be ethical for me to get some glasses so I could identify. You don't want to shoot a bald eagle out of the sky
No.
when you're hunting ducks.
Well,
It's
I
nothing.
commend you on your. I mean, you do a great job on the choice. That's the
Yeah.
worst part of getting glasses for me.
It is.
I mean, I usually take my wife and my daughter and say, pick them out. Whatever you pick out is. What I'm
It
gonna
is a
wear.
tough choice. You know, this is because especially if you don't wear them, you don't know what's going to look good on your face.
They look
Good.
incredibly natural. I wouldn't have guessed
right
it was a new thing for you. It looked like,
Yeah.
you know, because some people wear them but don't wear them. And
Right. I thought about the 70s.
looks very
Real-
comfortable on you.
Thank you.
Good job,
man.
yeah.
I can see now. Now I know what you look like.
Very nice. And
And
I'm
this
sorry
is
to
our last
disappoint
show.
you.
I need a new coaches. Cry.
But your daughter's in the house with us tonight.
She is in the house with us tonight. She's sitting over. We should have put you.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's another chair
Pilot
on camera
chair.
over here, Krista. If you
She's
want to
like-
move, if you feel like moving.
She's one of our gator hunters, by the way. She's licensed this year as a gator hunter. She has not. Oh, you know what? We should have put you over here. Why don't you come over? We'll talk. We'll talk. Come on over here. Walk up behind me, right here. We got your headphones right here. We're gonna put you on. Come on. There you
Yeah,
go.
let's do it.
Don't
Yeah,
bump
navigate.
into- Yeah, don't bump
If
her.
you see an earthquake going on here, come on.
Do the limbo rock. Oh. Oh, she did it. Wham.
She
Can you
did
get
it.
behind me? Let's put you on.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen. That's what we should have named our kids.
run some intro music for her. She can hear all this stuff going on.
There you go.
Now you can hear music and all the other stuff.
And
that
then you
goes
get to
along
hear
with it.
all the other side effects.
Yes,
You are in the twilight zone. So
very nice.
Krista is actually one of our hunters, and I have been busy. Obviously, we've been doing some gator hunting. I've been doing some fishing. We got some bass fishing going on. You know, I did that a few weekends ago. Posted some pictures.
You
from that.
posted a lot of stuff on here.
I
And I know
I caught like 20 bass. I thought if I post 20 bass, it's probably a lot. I mean, how many fish can you see? I mean, really? And then I took some guys red fishing. Actually, I took them. This is Tanner and Garrett, a couple of the guys I work with, and every time they went fishing, I never seen them post fishing pics. And I think, we kind of ascertained that they're just not catching fish. They need some help. So we took them out to, this is actually a Mosquito Lagoon. I'm actually going to give away the secret location. I gave away the secret bait. And you can see right there at the very top, it's a Redfish Magic. The top one is the Rodney Rogers grub that you see, and the bottom one is actually the stock Redfish Magic. That's how it comes, the one with the white minnow on the bottom.
Okay.
You're familiar with that, ain't you?
Yes.
Yeah, she's been there once or twice.
Did you do the fish call? Is that how you got
And I didn't do the fish call. When she was growing up, every time we went fishing, I'd go, so, honey, she was like 7, 8 years old. So you got to do the fish call. She'd look at me like, what's that? And I'd go, fish, fishy, fish, fishy, fishy.
every time?
And what would happen?
Caught a fish every time.
And she just refused. One time we pulled up to this dock and I said, oh, right there. Fish, fishy, fishy. And I threw my lure up, my worm under, pow. She almost gave in once. She's like, I'm not going to have it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that was my fish call. So here's the baits, and hopefully we get a call in from one of the guys. I took him out. We only went out for about 3 hours. We landed a bunch of trout and a redfish,
Did you go through multiple baits, or did you lose any? Or
No, I only bought 2.
okay,
And I gave it to both of them, and I kind of guided them around. I caught the redfish, and I kind of wanted to feel out. I put some pinfish out the back. I put some shrimp out, and I hooked them up with needlefish and shrimp. And, we're just trying to figure out what they're biting on. And once I figured it out, which I kind of figured it was going to go the route of the Redfish Magic, once I figured it out, I put it on their pole and said, all right, let's fish. And then they did, and they started catching. It was actually their first trouts. So they did real good.
and this was in Mosquito Lagoon.
Mosquito Lagoon, Haulover Canal. We got to see the bioluminescence.
That's something I'm still dying to see.
It's amazing. They were
Have you ever
actually.
seen it, Krista?
Have you not seen it? Not at all.
I've-
Let me put you. Can you hear? Maybe I can't.
It's just probably you.
Is it me?
That's you.
Okay.
I
I'm
think that's
deaf.
the next thing
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
I got to flip a switch. Yeah, I wasn't ready for this.
Which
You're absolutely right. Her mic's not on.
testing. How about now?
No, hang on. Hang on.
Oh. How about now?
Hi.
Hey!
Welcome aboard. Let's just take it from the top. Hang on a second. Here we go. Done.
So now we got her. So yeah, we were right straight out in Haulover Canal. I'm gonna give away the location. I'm gonna pin it on the map. I'm gonna take a picture, a snapshot, and all that good stuff, and I'm gonna put it out there for. You know what? The key to stuff like this is finding but first you got to build confidence in your fishing spot. You know what I mean? I don't mean to go on a whole big spiel about this. And this is kind of what I was telling them. If you don't have any confidence in that spot, you're not going to fish it adequately. You're not going to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's going to take the
That
bait.
makes sense.
Yeah, you got to have the right bait, which we don't know what it is yet, and that's why I put so many poles out. I wanted to find out what the right bait was. I put this, and that, and I constantly cast the artificial to see if I can get, the bait. And if Garrett calls in, I got Garrett calling in. If he calls in, I'll kind of see if
Which one's Garrett? The one on my right or my left?
It'll be on your right, the one with the glasses.
Okay.
With the big old trout grin. Hey, I got my trout in my hands. Look at my trout.
Well, they're beautiful fish. I mean, the photo of you, was that taken the same day?
That was taken literally
But that's a redfish.
20 minutes before them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a redfish right there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an oddity because he's got 2 spots on his tail, which normally they have 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean they're in that lagoon with as many as 100 spots, but it's pretty rare. So it was pretty cool to catch. It was anytime you get one with a couple spots, it's actually really awesome, really awesome. Matter of fact, someone posted on there. Someone posted on there that fish is probably saying, "Hey, your thumb tastes like chicken."
Caption this.
Yeah.
So let's talk. We got Krista here. Let's talk about some gators.
Oh,
Let's talk
yeah.
about alligator. So we take Krista out. Krista actually got the first week of the first hunt, first everything.
Okay.
So we got to take her out on the
I'm
first
number 1.
night. She's number 1.
You're number 1.
So I'll let you tell it. When we get in the water, what happened after that?
I didn't catch a gator. I don't know what you want me to say.
Now,
All right,
Mike,
folks. Thanks for coming.
thank you, folks.
It was a lot harder than it looked,
Yeah, it was a little bit scarier too, wasn't it?
especially when you realize the gator's actually bigger than the canoe that you're in.
Makes all the difference in the
So it
world.
was just you two in this canoe?
Yeah, we
And
were
then
in the big
there's-
canoe.
Okay.
Right.
And then
And-
the Huckabees.
Yeah, the Huckabees. My cousins were in the smaller canoe beside us. So her and I get on this. All she sees at first is a head swimming through the water, and I said, "That's our guy."
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good one.
And it's dark by this point, right? Or is
Yeah.
it still daylight?
Yeah.
No, it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just dark.
So we cut out all the lights, and all she has is her headlight.
I'm the only one with a light.
Okay.
Usually that's the way to go.
Yeah. And then what'd you see?
A gator bigger than the canoe. I just seen the head, so it didn't dawn on me that it was that big until he's about to swim away. So then he starts popping up, and I was like, "Yeah, I had the second thoughts about this one."
I seen the spear go from hi y'all, the
I was gonna
tomahawk
get him.
chop down to the womp 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 womp, and then she just kind of tossed it in the water. Like, I really don't want to stab this gator.
Now, how close were you to the 12-footer? How far from
6
the boat?
feet, less than 6
Oh, really?
feet.
I could have
Yeah,
just
right.
bent down and touched him if
Yeah,
I wanted.
Wow.
we were right on top of it. Yeah, that definitely would have been a gator. of a
So you
lifetime.
got so close to him just because of the stealthiness of the canoe once again?
Yeah. It's that canoe is super stealthy. We got on a lot of big alligators that first night. I mean,
yeah.
we really did.
They were
ended up,
everywhere.
we ended up sticking a 12-foot alligator, and then it just we hit it in the backbones, and it just came out. Those things are really tough. They're 50 years old for a reason. So and then we had another shot at a 9-footer. We almost flipped a canoe on. A little excited. One of my nephews, Nick, got a little excited and kind of did a lean back
I
kind of.
could see that being incredibly easy to do in a canoe.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just 'cause they're-
I mean, I sometimes I take it for granted because I've done it so many times. And then it's a done deal. I actually ended up sticking one. That was it that night. No, it was
It
the
was
next
the next
hunt.
night. Yeah.
It was the next hunt. Yeah. So
So that night you didn't bring anything home. So you still got both your gator tags.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All we brought home was memories that night, which
Yes.
actually was well worth it, wasn't it?
It was fun.
You know,
It was
in
a
the
good
long run,
experience.
that's still all you ever get.
You know what? You absolutely hit it on the head.
Right.
It's because I mean, you remember
Yeah.
when we went.
I mean,
you know,
even after the meat's gone and everything else is
that memory and never
memories.
forget.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
That gator will always haunt me. I think I dreamt about it that night, missing it.
Yeah, that was truly a gator of a lifetime, and you don't get those shots at those big alligators that often.
Yeah, I think the one thing from the time or two I went out with you, it's not it's everything that conversation doesn't even bring about. When you're talking about, number one, it's pitch dark. You're in the middle of a lake. It's it's pitch black. The sounds.
Oh, the sounds are always
the frogs and just the sounds of being out in the nature. But when that thing starts moving and starts churning the water, all those things associate. I mean, make that moment and the emotion of what you're going through. That it doesn't come back in conversation.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, you speaking the sounds. The night we took Steve on Steve's hunt, we shut off all the lights. And what we didn't know is we were actually on top of one alligator heading to another alligator. And as our boat literally bumped into it, all cane broke loose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was like, dude, I thought he was going to jump out of the boat. I mean, I felt the boat wiggle side to side, and he goes, "What in the world was that?" And I said, "I think we just bumped into an alligator."
Wow.
Trying to get to the one we were after. You know, so it kind of spooked him out, you know, which was kind of funny to me. I'm at the back of the boat. So it was funny to Steve, you know, big guy in a canoe. I tell him, you know, you left and right, you know, vision straight ahead to the right. You know, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That's your peripheral. So every time you get right about 2:45, I go 3-9, 3-9, baby, 3-9.
So, Chris, when you first started, did you guys hit the water before it was dark? Obviously,
yes, we did. We hit it about an hour before dark. We actually got some really good canoe footage of the lake, just a sheet of glass.
Oh yeah,
you know, everything just nice and smooth.
But it was a lot rougher coming back that night.
Yeah.
Oh, just the water itself.
The wind picked up a little
really?
bit that night. Yeah, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd say it picked up.
Yeah.
So what was the anticipations you had? I mean, going out for the first time. Obviously, it's. I mean, as far as what expectations of what the hunt was going to be, is that a fair question? You know what I'm saying? Or
yeah.
Did you expect it to be easier? Did you expect it to be quicker? Did you?
Yeah. Well, because usually, you know, we're getting 6-7 footers, and you know, it seems easy, and you know, skinning and stuff is fun. But as soon as I seen that 12, I was like, yeah, this is not as easy as I thought. And the spear, you have to throw it a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
And I think I've taken it for granted for doing it so many years. I've got a.
Well, and the other thing I'm guessing here, but being in a canoe, it's a different game.
It is
the way you throw the
you
spear,
don't have that leverage,
the speed at which the evening progresses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to be in a totally different mindset, I would assume.
Be very conscious what each other's doing,
sure.
Because you can easily flip the canoe, or it just takes one wrong, you know, or you're both going over. Like Nico.
Yeah.
I think it would add an element of excitement to the evening.
Absolutely,
because of stuff like that. I mean, you're at a different level with that canoe or with the gator.
I think one of the funniest parts was after her and Nico got to see those gators, watching the flashlight look like a disco light on the water. They were shaking so much.
Yeah, when Nico was standing up, you just felt the canoe shaking because his knees were just. We were like, buddy, you better sit down before you fall out.
That's what I told him as a dude. Sit down. You know, I don't
take it easy.
Need to be dragging.
Right, because big canoe, small canoe, standing a canoe is maybe not the best idea.
Right.
Even on a calm day in a sunny.
You know what? And I've gotten pretty good. I mean, he went overboard. I mean, he was leaning. His back got wet. That's how far
he was.
Really?
It looked like he was laying flat across the water.
And I was able to offset it because I've done this for 30 years.
Wow,
You know, canoe is not saying I've never had anybody fall out. If he would have just fell out, we wouldn't have took water on. You know what I mean? Most people go, okay, I don't want to take the whole boat. Let me just go.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for not wanting to go because the 9-footer was so close. I could have just poked him in the eyeballs.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still right there, you know, and he leaned over. He looked like a weeble wobble, you know, he just like went way over. And I'm offsetting by leaning to the opposite direction. and he's slowly coming up, and I'm having to time my coming up to his so we don't flip the boat. But we did take on, 4 or 5 gallons of water.
I think we just all looked at each other like, does anybody know what really just happened there? Because I don't think we do. Very
exactly.
close call. I think the scariest part of that night, like, seeing the gators and stuff like that, you're used to it. But when you were like, when you and Uncle Nick were talking about being in the center of them being territorial and you seen like 15 around you.
Yeah.
Now that was a little creepy.
Yeah. I mean, at one point we had some really, you've heard me talk about the hierarchy of the lake many times. And one of the spots that we were in is basically one of the most demanding spots for males. I mean, we were among about 10 males over 10 feet long, ranging from anywhere a little over 12 down to about, 9-10 foot. And there was just so many males in this one area, and they were just swimming across back and forth to each other. And being so territorial, that's why we were so easy to get on that first night. And that was actually, it's the most big alligators I've seen congregated in one area in that lake in the 20 years I've hunted.
It was like one right after another. You could just look around, and they were everywhere.
Yeah, they were just.
And to put this in perspective, I mean, you've grown up on the lake with your father, and I remember one of the first times I was at your house. Krista was the one going, Dad, can I go down to the lake and grab a gator and bring it back?
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, wow, it's definitely your daughter. So I mean, gators are you're no stranger to the life here, but to see the perspective of being out there.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's once you get out there, it's that perspective. If you're not used to that environment,
sure.
Being on land and looking at gators is one thing. Being on that gators territory and looking at it's literally. And sometimes, like, that night, I was even humbled by the situation that we were in.
Sure.
And I knew the severity of someone falling out. It's just not all that.
But I admire, I mean, that last comment, because the fact of the matter is, no matter how confident and experienced you get with any kind of hunting, being able to be humbled and realize the situation of the dangers that really are there. You get too cocky and that's when trouble starts happening.
Yeah, exactly. That's when bad things happen. If it's handgunning or shotgunning or whatever it is, we always try to to maintain. And I try to never lose that perspective,
because every situation is potentially unpredictable.
Absolutely. I've been in that canoe a million times. It doesn't mean someone won't fall out.
You don't know how any of these given people is going to react.
You just don't
to whatever
know.
situation pops its head up.
Absolutely. And not being in that situation before, I don't think I've ever had her out there in that particular situation.
That's the other.
I mean, growing up, he would even drag the canoe in the pool that we had in the wilderness.
You remember that?
Yeah, and he would tip it on purpose, and this is what you do. He would always teach us to be prepared.
That was when they were 9 and 10.
Smart.
Yeah. I mean, and it's those situations. I mean, I'm prepared mentally if someone falls out of the boat, but between me and you, to have it honestly, it's never happened.
Well,
so
sure. And the flip side of that is this night, it was your daughter in the boat. So even from a father's perspective, your priorities are slightly different than somebody you maybe didn't care quite so much about.
Taking that one guy hunting. You sure you're stable, buddy? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Hang on, sport. Yeah, exactly. It kind of iterated that it was probably more. I didn't, because being her first time, you want everybody's experience to be really exhilarating.
What a great time, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one of my favorite daddy-daughter dates was taking Lexi out.
We took Lexi out. I remember that.
It was memories that won't go away.
And she'll never forget that night. Yeah, that was an awesome night. I'll never forget that. That was an awesome night. Scared the dickens out of you that night, too.
That was so funny. One of the, some of the video we have, I guess I shouldn't go into it. Anyways.
That's right. So yeah, I mean, we still got 4 tags left. She has 2. We haven't taken one on hers. I've taken one on mine, and we've taken one on Steve's.
Okay. You and Steve's both was what, about 7 or 8 foot?
Yeah, just right at 7 feet. Yeah, they were both right at 7 feet. Actually, I think they were both.
Which is still a decent sized gator.
It is. It is. We passed up the night we were with Steve. We passed up on about 4 or 5 of those, and the night was getting late, and we were like, okay, it's not bad for a first gator. And I think the night that I was, that I took mine, it was just a matter of I knew it was a good gator, and I seen it going through the cattails, and I kind of headed it off with the spear. So once we pulled in, I seen how big it was. I'm like, it's definitely a respectable alligator. Put meat in the freezer, and it was just definitely worth having. So,
well, let me ask you this then: if because you're hoping to get out again, how much of the season's left?
we have till November 1st.
Okay,
We got till November 1st.
So less
we
than
got
a month.
Yeah, we got less than a
which
month.
is going to go quick.
It is. You figure this weekend, next weekend, the weekend after, we're pretty much at the end.
Yeah. So, what's the gator status? Are they on top alert now?
They
all
are
know
on
what's
red
going
alert.
on?
Let me tell you, buddy. And
Harder to find.
you
They're
hit.
just
There
watching
is.
out for the canoes.
Yeah, I mean, once you hit them with the light, they're gone. I mean, so now.
Do they get skittish, or is every night a brand new night?
Here's what I've learned about alligators doing this for 30 years. They pattern, because remember, animals don't know time. They don't know that it's 3 o'clock on Sunday.
Sure.
They know patterns, and to them, a year is the same as a week, a month, a day. I mean, to them, it's just really, it's all the same time.
They don't have a lot to look forward to.
No, they don't, except a chicken or a snail. So they have patterned this time with flashlights and airboat noises, and those noises. And that first night, you were on it like a hobo on a ham sandwich. You can get on them pretty good. But after that, it gets really tough. The pressure's on. Now they go, okay, this is the same time as the last time, whatever Gator's mind is the last time, and they pattern. They can pattern you and I. They can pattern ducks. If you walked at the end of a dock every day and you flipped your dead fish out, they'll pattern that, and they'll know that at 4 o'clock tomorrow, that guy's coming, I'm going.
So do you think later in the season now, do you think being in a canoe could be an advantage? Because it's at least taking away one of those clues to the gator.
Exactly. It is. It really is. And it actually, it kind of adds to your, what's the word I'm looking for? It adds to your readiness.
Sound it out, Rodney. First word sounds.
It adds to your ability to catch
What's your dad saying here, Krista? Help me out. You can translate for him.
It makes you want to get them gators a little bit quicker. Yeah, it adds to that
urgency?
Stealthiness.
Stealthiness.
Or whatever it adds to. It helps you. Mike can't get it out.
No, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The stealthiness.
It adds to the stealthiness, and it's stealthiness. That's a word. It just allows you to do better, Mike.
More gooder.
Be
more good.
More exactly. So it helps you. Next, please. I got nothing. Back to you, Mike.
I'll tell you what. This picture of you and Nico and Nick with this—that's a good picture. That's one of the better pictures I've seen.
Yeah, that's actually. Yeah, that was actually.
Click on it. Make it full screen.
Pow, wham. Yeah, that was my gator there.
Who took that?
That was actually Nick's girlfriend.
With the iPhone?
iPad, actually.
Really?
Yeah, she took that with
the
good-looking
photo.
iPad, yeah. Not sure if that was some. Yeah, it had to be her iPad.
That's cool.
Yeah, that limb that you see in that gator's mouth is actually 12 feet long.
It's all perspective,
give or take.
So the picture above that, not like this is a radio show, people can't see this, but the one above that, who took that?
I took that one.
That's a crap.
No, I didn't take it. She took it with my phone.
Yeah.
How's that? Oh yeah. Oh, that
was from like 1940.
She didn't focus. That's what it is.
Was it with an iPhone?
It was with the iPhone. It wasn't focused. I just noticed it wasn't focused. Oh, no focus. The focus, no good, no good.
Picking a bad time to be critical, aren't I?
Yeah. So with that. So yeah, I mean that was, we got a lot of good meat. Actually, we just ate some.
Yeah, we did. It was very good.
We just had some.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, we had some
fried
Saturday. Yeah, actually, we fried this. Yeah, we did fry this one. It's not. I mean, it's definitely, obviously, the best way, but it's not one of my favorites.
But when you say, because I'm not a big fried person.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but I don't know. It just everything when you fry it kind of tastes the same. It seems to me.
Yeah. I mean, you can fry a steak or a snail or
generic.
It is that, and that's what I don't like about it. It's just too
if
generic.
You cooked it like you would another piece of chicken.
It's like chicken. Yeah.
I mean, is it still good, or does
my
gator
gosh.
have to be fried?
No. It is delicious. I do bourbon gator. I do buffalo gator, where I do like naked wings. I do it just like you would naked wings. I do orange gator. I do grilled with a mojo sauce.
Okay.
I mean, I do it a
I'd like
hundred
to
different
try that
ways.
because I mean, even when you go to restaurant, it's typically fried. That's
Absolutely,
how they serve it. I
yeah,
don't know if it
yeah.
just camouflages or makes people not as
No.
squeamish about it or something. I don't know.
I've said this before: gator is a product in their environment.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends on where you kill the gator of how the taste is. These gators that I've always killed out of Toho, and it's one of the reasons I picked Toho. They eat snails all the time. This one was full of snails. I mean, when I opened this one up, he had tons of snails in there.
You need to have like a turn this into a betting game before you crack the stomach open.
We always do. You know,
Sometimes
like I said,
you don't even know like what some of the stuff is.
To
in there.
identify,
You
yeah,
just-
that's the other part of the game, I guess, is the identification
as
process.
a matter of fact, her and my son at 11 years old,
Yeah, about that.
I open up one of the gators, and it's like the 10th gator I've seen like this, and I've seen those snail doors. There's a name for them. They're called
Apple snails.
yeah. I mean, not the actual
Oh.
snail, but the door is called an
Oh.
ostum or an ostome or osteme or something like that. And it's a door. You know, when the snail closes up, it has a real hard door to it.
Okay.
Well, I says, what in the world are these things? This is the 10th gator I've seen with these things in there. Right out of the blue, both of them at the same time. Those belong to snails. Mike, 11 years old.
Made daddy
It
proud.
made me proud and embarrassed at the same time. I should have known that.
You forgot I tried to keep one as a pet. Didn't work out.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we've had every kind of pet out there.
Yeah.
I bet, yes. I mean, but you never know what you're going to find in the gator in the
No.
stomach, right? I mean, that's where you got your watch.
That's
Right?
exactly where I got my and that hand I keep on the counter. It's all in one shot. It's got a Timex and it's still ticking, cuz. The coolest thing I found was the 11 and a half footer we killed once. It had a duck band in it with a
Oh yes,
a
I
duck
remember
web
that.
foot and a transistor where they were
Really?
tracking this duck. So I went to the
Oh.
Ducks Unlimited website and I punched in, hey, we found this duck with this band and this transistor and put all the numbers in. About 2 weeks later, I get this call. And this guy answers, I answered the phone. The guy says, hello, is this Mr. Rogers? I said, yes. Well, we'd like to ask you a few questions. I said, well, who is this? This is so-and-so with the Ducks Unlimited. He just goes on this whole duck spiel. And I'm like, oh, I'm a duck hunter, so why not? Yeah. Well, yes, you tagged a duck several weeks ago, and it was duck number zip zip zappa zuba. Like I knew, which
Yeah.
I've only tagged one duck.
Yeah.
And then it hit me. I said, as a matter of fact, he goes, that was a rare species of only 16 in the world. We tagged that one with the transistor. And I said, yeah, I got the transistor as well. He goes, yes, we noticed it was very stable. And I said, yeah, well, he moved around a little bit because he goes, may I ask how you killed it? Like he was going to get me.
Oh, really?
Because you couldn't. I said, well, actually, I didn't kill it. I found it inside of an alligator. And he just went, chirp, chirp, crickets, at the other end. I said, hello? Yes, I've never heard of, I didn't know they flew that far south. I said, yep, he got ate by an alligator. I said, the good thing is he didn't digest the bands, We always find rocks and bottle caps and bobbers and lures and all kind of weird stuff. And that was the coolest thing we found inside of one. Yeah.
But always snails, because that's part of their diet, right?
Always snails.
Apparently,
They
it's
smell
the
them,
weirdest thing.
As they reach up as they go up the cattails, they just reach up and pluck them off like an apple.
Yeah.
But I wonder what happens to the actual bigger shell. Like,
It just dissolves.
It's so
and why
strange.
not the lids?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That
crazy.
is my question. You know what? That's actually, I've got a good friend, Tony, with FWC. You see post on my site all the time.
I saw something online.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
posted the other day.
Yeah, he has a Hunt Florida
Yeah.
channel on YouTube as well. So we're actually going to be doing some stuff together, hopefully here soon. So,
Well, and talking earlier about, so you're going to ask them why those things don't.
what is it about those? So yeah, what was you going to say?
It's like saying you're this acid in your stomach is so strong, so why doesn't it eat the inside of your stomach? And same kind of
Yeah,
question.
yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, as we were talking earlier, how conversation doesn't capture the sounds and stuff of the night, but I suppose the smells kind of right of cleaning out a gator and so the stomach does.
Yeah, you know what?
Also doesn't get.
Of all the alligators I've killed, Mike, and I can't even tell you how many it is. The FWC could.
Yes, hopefully
They're tagged.
Well, yes, yeah. Wink, wink.
They're tagged. All my gators are tagged. So we've only had one alligator that when we threw it in the boat, we knew
you weren't going to eat it.
We knew something was going down really bad. And I seen this white stuff just coming out of its nose, and it got all over the boat. And we were just, man, we were gagging. It was gagging maggot. I'm gonna tell you what, it was rough stuff. So, I taped his nose up because it was coming out of his nose. Taped his mouth up. Washed the boat, and I said, "Dude, we got to get out. We got to get this thing home. I don't even care what it is. I don't know what he's eating. Actually, I was very curious. I wanted to know what was in him. So we go home, and my son he loves when we do the research on these things.
Sure.
We had a fan blowing on us. We had one of those big fans.
Research. I like that part.
Yeah,
that's nice.
And we get the gator cleaned, and we get down to where it's time for the stomach contents. So my son goes, "Dad, I want to see what's in the stomach." And he's going to walk in front of the alligator, and I'm telling him, "Dude, I don't think I would do that if I was you." Nope, he wouldn't listen. He got right in front of it, stuff coming out of his nose, and he starts gagging. And I mean, he can't even control himself. It was so bad. So we cut this thing open, and that's where I got my watch. No, we cut it open, and he had eaten 2 giant tilapia. I mean, I'm talking 20-pound tilapia,
really?
or now perch, just these big giant fish. And all that was left was a head of one and just hundreds of these gnarly bones. And I mean, it had filled his stomach up. So it was right in that digesting process, and they got to have heat to digest. And it was a little bit, so it was taking him longer to digest than anything. So obviously he's going to digest all them bones. But to reach in and pull out 1,000 sharp, bones that I can't imagine anything eating. They were just rough, hard, stiff, pointy. How they do it, it's amazing. This thing's been around for a long time for a reason, I guess. But that was the nastiest.
So obviously you've still got 2 tags left, Chris, and you guys are going to go again. But
you want to go after we leave?
I could actually, right?
Yeah,
is the season now wide open now from now until?
It's wide open until November 1st. So we can go from 5 in the afternoon till 10 in the morning. We can actually wake up at 6 a.m. and go out there till 10, which is not a bad time to go.
So what was your highlight? What was your takeaway of the night, even though you didn't bring home a gator?
Just the experience, the first time experience. And, I was thinking maybe, okay, I'd see a gator here, I'd see a gator, but they were everywhere. There wasn't a time we weren't looking around that we weren't seeing a gator. So it was just the experience and having that with my dad and stuff like that. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I wish it was like the duck situation. I don't know how.
Because we got duck season coming up, so I'm excited about that. We got.
Does it overlap the tail of gator season, or is it?
No, it's the November 22nd.
Okay,
they finally set the season for that.
Okay.
So we won't do that until late November. So it's a little bit later than last year, and that's kind of why it's so important that when we kill ducks, we report what we shoot. A lot of people don't, and it's hard to gauge. And the season adjusts every year.
Now, is deer season in progress?
Deer season is in progress. It's actually archery season right now.
Okay.
Try to get out Sunday morning, for archery.
So archery season meaning you can kill what?
Anything. That's on the menu.
Okay.
In the state of Florida, anything but a panther or a bear. Still can't kill bear.
Okay.
Or a bald eagle. They all taste the same. They're right in that range.
You're funny, Rodney.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where we're at on the seasons right now. And I tell you, it's still, and as you can see by our fishing, it's still fishing season. A lot of people. You got those people, like I said, that are in hunting mode or fishing mode. You're in one of them. A lot of times you turn off the fishing to do your hunting, and then vice versa. At the end of hunt season, you'll turn off. So, and I kind of leave those switches on full time because I know we're coming back into fall, so these big fish are going to start coming in again. So this is my last chance to catch that state record I was trying to brag about beginning of the year here. So this is my last shot at it. These fish are starting to feed up again. They're going to spawn one more time before the winter gets here. So I'm going to be really aggressively chasing those again.
Because it's all about the temperature.
It is, and you know, animals are affected by it, and that's why the season is when it is. You know, fish are affected by it, and you know, everything cold blooded, including my ex-wife.
Wow.
Cold blooded, get it, get it, Mike, cold blooded.
What else you got in your bag of tricks for tonight? Tonight we'll be talking about my favorite baits. Did we talk about that? Redfish magic. We just crashed or something.
No. Yeah, we did talk about that. Oh snap! What was I say? Oh snap!
The
Yeah,
the when to, the how to.
Now, what I'm going to post is on that redfish magic. What I'm going to post is the fact that where I was catching them and why I was catching them. I think it's probably more important why I was catching it in location. What I was explaining to Garrett and Tanner that was fishing with that day, as we drifted across these shallow flats at about 1.5 foot of water, we were catching good fish. We were catching.
And Garrett, if you're listening,
and the trout. Yeah, Garrett, if you're listening.
262-345-7763.
7763. That was you. I was gonna say we have a missed call, but that was you. That was our test call. So what I explained, and then we got to a spot where we weren't catching fish. And what happened is that shallow flats goes from about 1.5 foot and kind of dives off to about 6 feet. So we had drifted into that 6 foot section. And that's why we were kind of not catching fish at that point. So it's important to stay in that range. And you don't want to leave that area once you're catching fish.
You know, you're talking trout or redfish or both or any of them?
They're both in the same area. They both are, you know, trout kind of hide in the grass, waiting for ambush.
Now, do they stay up on that shelf because of the temperature or the depth, or is it because of the structure that's up there?
It's all the above.
Okay.
I mean, if that makes any sense.
Sure does.
If it gets too hot, they'll move down into that deep trough. And if you're not catching them on that shallow flat, then when you move into that deep trough, then you change the retrieve of your bait. You know, instead of reeling it in like a shallow reel, then you just reel a little slower and let it drop down. Because if you look at the blade on that bait that I've got there, you'll see that it has a big round blade, and that's called a.
Am I looking at the top one or the bottom one?
Either one. They're both the same. Okay. The same actual bait. You see that round teardrop kind of bait that they have there. The bigger that is, the more vibration it gives out, and you can reel it slower, and it'll stay at that depth. It's just one blade. Versus a willow blade that has a long, skinny blade, it sinks faster. So you can hold this at 3 feet. Exactly. You can hold this at 3 feet at a medium reel, where a willow blade, you'd have to reel a lot faster.
Yeah, like a skinny leaf versus a bigger leaf.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's just that simple. And that's why these baits work so well, because you can get that slow reel in a shallow water.
Okay.
And it doesn't burn through that water. Now, you can burn it through the water if you want, but you don't have to.
Okay.
You know, so that's why this blade is really effective. Don't be afraid to change the baits on it. I mean, you can see that, you know, you've got the top one is my Rodney Rogers grub. We still don't have a name for it. We're working on it.
It's the Rodney Rogers green, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's and then the bottom one is just, you know, the Redfish Magic standard that comes on it.
So when the fish, are they attracted to the shiny spinny thing, but then they see that and then go after the
exactly bait? That blade is flickering, so it looks like a school of bait fish.
Gets the attention. And
then they see the bait fish and then they attack.
Okay.
You know, and it could be snook, trout, red. I mean, it could be anything that's out there. Jacks, love them. You know, just a whole multitude. I mean, we've caught, you know, my nephew's caught the 50-pound redfish on that bait right there.
Wow.
You know, we were all hooked up on those 50-pounders on that bait right there.
Huh.
So, you know, just super phenomenal bait. Easy go-to bait, easy go-to area. I'm going to post that so everybody can get out there and enjoy that spot if you have a boat. Like I said, it just takes a little bit of confidence of what you're fishing with and where you're fishing. You know, if you know it works, then you have a tendency to stay in that area a little bit longer. You know, and that makes all the difference in the world. It really does.
So it's part of the confidence in your fishing location?
It is. I've actually found this location several years ago, because I myself wasn't accustomed to Mosquito Lagoon. Um, it can be a tough area to fish because it's so shallow in areas, and then it can be, once you start getting on fish, then it can be enjoyable. Um, the first time I went, my God, it had to be 20 years ago. I went with a friend of mine, and he knew the area. I didn't, but I just knew to fish. And that was when 20 years ago is when I caught my first trout.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there fishing with just bass lures. That's all I had. I was a bass fisherman. So I was flipping trout in the boat one after another off of spinner baits.
Wow.
And this is way before they had Redfish Magic. And I had a white grub on a spinner bait, and he was like, dude, what are you using? I said, dude, I'm just using my spinner bait and I put a white grub on it. So him and I put them on. We were actually in a little tournament with some friends and we just slammed them, but I didn't go back for a long time. And then my cousin introduced me to this actual Redfish Magic about, 5-6 years after that, and plow. It's definitely, I caught my first redfish off of that bait.
Wow.
So, it's definitely a confidence.
Now,
builder.
how far offshore is this spot?
It's actually in the lagoon. I mean, technically,
you could throw a rock onto shore.
No, it's about a mile out.
Oh, that far?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's about a mile.
Okay.
Right out of the lagoon, right out of the Haulover Canal. It's like due east. If you're going, you put in at the boat ramp, Haulover Canal. When you come out of the canal, you head east. You stay east until you hit the beach. I mean, you have Playlinda Beach there.
Okay.
And then right over that is the Atlantic Ocean. But the Mosquito Lagoon is actually, obviously it's waterlocked. So just head east and then poof, you're in the area. You'll start seeing small islands. And what it is, there's a channel. And you'll see when I post a satellite picture, there's a channel that runs through there. It's about a 6-foot channel. And on the sides, it gets up to about a foot and a half.
It's amazing.
And it's just phenomenal fishing. It's those little channels that you look for. Those channels are basically just transition areas. So those fish can just swoop down, get in those channels and run out. And they resort to those channels if the water gets too hot or too cold, and then they can move back and forth. It's
an ideal setup for them, doesn't it?
It is perfect. It is perfect. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that knows about it. I'm sure there's a ton of people, but there's a ton of areas to fish out there. It's not like you're stuck in one area. Have I ever had you out there? I'm not sure if I ever had you out there.
Is that where you took me and Zachy just to snorkel and stuff?
No. We went to Fort Pierce on that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that
was
Fort
Fort Pierce is actually. I mean, not Fort Pierce. Fort DeSoto.
Zachy's been out there.
Yeah, Zachy's been out there.
He's caught a redfish with you, I think.
Yeah.
Are there any of those little islands out there that you could just dock your boat and fry up those fish you're catching?
Absolutely. Yeah, you could absolutely. I mean, you could stake one of those islands out and camp on it.
Cool.
But it's called Mosquito Lagoon for a reason. During the summer, actually, during the winter, poof, your mosquitoes are gone.
You'd find that fine crossover time where the temperatures are dying down, but the fish are still biting.
Exactly. What's good about this area is the fish are always biting. Just got to find those areas because they get in those deep water troughs, and that's when they're actually they're actually all together. You know what I'm saying? They're all together.
I know what you're trying to say,
yeah. So they hem up in these deep holes, and they're a lot easier to catch. Actually,
wow.
As long as you find those holes.
Wow.
There's a big trout out there. I caught my first 30-inch trout out there.
It's a huge trout.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I think the state record is like 33. So yeah, I mean it's huge. It's about an 8-pound trout. They only get up to about 15. So and that's like the world record.
Wow. So
yeah, it's definitely a phenomenal trout. I mean, Mosquito Lagoon is just definitely one of my favorite areas.
Well, what's coming up? What do we got coming up?
So we're getting back into the winter time. We've got I got some things this weekend I'm going to be doing. Actually, we're going to try to gator hunt. We're going to try to deer hunt. We got dove season in. I'm trying to squeeze all this.
Season.
Yeah, trying to squeeze all this stuff in. There's an event coming up, man. You know what? What I forgot to do? I forgot to do case of the week I wanted to do, but there's an event coming up where they're cleaning up. Actually, they're in Titusville. They're doing a big cleanup. I'm gonna try to. That's on the 18th. I'm gonna try to get out there.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Is it a beach cleanup or?
Yeah, it's like a lagoon cleanup. The areas that
right up your alley.
Protected areas.
Yeah.
So actually, our friends at Black Dog Bait posted it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to be a part of that. I'm hoping I can. I know I've got a hunt coming up, that hunt we sold in the auction.
Right.
And then, we got a lot of stuff happening. That bike week is that weekend. So, just depends on how it plays out.
Yeah, we got to talk about that hunt thing. Going
Yeah.
on.
So, I'd like to do some of that. And I'm just really trying to get out there right now. This is the time of the year when it's just time to go. One of the things we have to do is get our youth out there. I mean, it's important, is to take that youth. I've got a couple first-time duck hunters going with us this duck season. They're really
cool.
excited.
Very
I've
cool.
already got their license set up, and we've got all kind of cool stuff coming with those guys coming out. I'm actually not going to have enough boats, so I'm going to try to find some more canoes by the time duck season gets here. I need 2 more. So
interesting.
If you're listening, you're selling a canoe, hit us up on the website. I'm going to try to find a couple more. That way, canoes, we can put them up in their areas, put a hunter in each boat, an educated, or not educated, but more so I quit.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Experience.
I mean, but I love your interest in the youth, because I mean, you always love passing it on and sharing it. And even with you, even with me, I'm no longer the youth, but even when you're not teaching me, I'm always learning stuff from you.
Right.
And I just really appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
I mean, we went, the time we went camping, I actually took notes. I don't even know if you know this.
No.
I process
I'm
things.
loving
I process things that you do,
Right.
because it's always a learning experience.
Right.
And when we were out on the island and we built that campfire, I actually took notes and wrote them down, things I learned from Rodney on starting how to build a campfire.
Man, I can't wait to hear it. I cannot wait to hear these notes.
No, well, and it's logical stuff, but
Absolutely.
you know what? The way my brain works, I like to write it down so I can revisit. Yeah, or just for reference sake. I'm a reference kind of guy. So step number 1 was you split a dead limb into fragments. You shave it into little slivers. Okay.
Right.
Step number 2, I learned all this stuff watching. Step number 2 is you bandage your left thumb. I thought that was good. Step number 3, you chop the other fragments into smaller bits. And then step number 4, you bandage your left foot.
Right.
I mean, I like to follow what you do exactly.
Right,
to
exactly.
because I learn from you.
Yes.
Then you make a structure of the slivers, and including those ones that were embedded in your hand. You pull those out and you make and then step number 6 is you light the match. Step number 7 is you light the match. So step number 8, you repeat, I'm a happy camper, and you light the match. Let's see. Step number 9.
I'm glad he's on top of this one.
Yeah, because even when you don't realize it, you're teaching people.
Absolutely.
Step number 9 is you apply the match to those slivers, then you add the wooden fragments, and you blow gently into the base of the flames.
Exactly.
Right? Step number 10, apply burn ointment to your nose. That was
very important.
Seemed important.
Very important.
Let's see. Step number 11, when the fire is burning, you collect more wood, I suppose, to keep it going. When fire is burning well, you add all the remaining firewood. And then 13, after the thunderstorm has passed, you repeat the above steps.
Right.
But I took notes detail, right? So
well, I wanted to get the first aid and the fire building.
You covered it all.
One shot.
One foul
no
swoop.
sense, and the patience thing.
Your education is comprehensive. That's all.
Well, I'm so glad you took notes. I love your notes, Mike Coy.
Thanks, man. So, anyways.
So here you go. Here's a 2-week hiatus.
All right, buddy.
And as my mom always said, and I'll tell you 1,000 times if I have to, you kids get outside and stay.